Marvel Television's Wonder Man, an 8-episode series, now streaming on Disney+.
A superhero remake, not exactly what we'd expect from an Oscar-winning director.
Action! Simon Williams, audition for Wonder Man.
I'm gonna need you to sign this, assuming you don't have superpowers.
I'll never work again if anyone found out.
My lips are sealed.
Marvel Television's Wonder Man. All 8 episodes now streaming, only on Disney+.
All right, so we're back with Laura Brand, serial kill whisperer, Partners in True Crime, and she's very excited because her book is coming out on June 24th. Some people have already ordered it. But Laura, tell us all the places where people can get your book, because we're going to talk a lot about the book today. You're going to share some excerpts and drop some knowledge on us on serial killers from your book. So tell everybody where they can get the book.
So I don't know every place, but I know you can get it on Barnes & Noble's, Bloomsbury.com, Amazon, Walmart, and there are, I think, 2 or 3 others you can also order from. But the big one, yeah.
So exciting.
Very exciting.
I can't wait to go to Barnes & Noble next week when it's officially in the store, and I'm going to take a picture.
I can't wait to see it, like to hold it. People have it before me.
I know, that's crazy.
It is, yeah.
All right, so we're going to have Laura read a little bit from the book and just kind of talk about what was happening with Bittaker when she was writing this and how this process went for her, because it's pretty intense.
The Toolbox Killer, Lawrence Bittaker.
Yeah.
So what do you want to share with us right now?
Okay, so chapter 9 is called, A Serial Killer's Sanctuary. And I chose this one because it goes into, when a serial killer is picking where they're going to, do their crime or the torture or dispose of the body. It's going to be a place they feel safe, that they know their quote unquote sanctuary.
Wow.
Do they always do that? They always go someplace where they actually know?
Typically. If you're going to commit murder and dispose of a body, it's going to be someplace you know or you feel comfortable with. That you can get away.
But wouldn't that tip off police, because they would be looking into like all the places that they go? Or is it someplace that they don't share with anyone else? Is it like a place that they keep secret?
Well, look at Bittaker and Norris. It's the fire roads, San Gabriel. The cops wouldn't think to go there. Then you look at, Ing with Lake. That was kind of weird because it was on his property, but still, they're in the mountains, very remote, right?
Yeah.
The mountains or like the woods where there's like nobody. How many people were in that town? Was it like 300 people?
There was
total?
nobody.
Nobody.
Literally, that place is for people that are hiding out up there, obviously.
Right.
I remember we were up there and we went, after we were done, we went to that pizza place and they were all staring at us. It was like a pizza place. It was like 3 different kind of places: pizza place, convenience store, gas station. It was just like,
that was it.
There wasn't even a in that area.
No.
Yeah. And then you look at San Gabriel, there's nothing. There's really nothing up there.
That's true. And that was a place that Bittaker had gone to when he was younger.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So he felt safe because he knew those fire roads. He knew that he could get in and out of there without anybody knowing.
Oh, yeah. And he knew him like the back of his hand because he was, doing the firefighter stuff as a teenager. And sorry, that's my cat. So, yeah, he learned every fire road and he knew, like, he would look at the lock. That's how he knew he could just break it off, put a new one on. And now you have private access to a whole, fire road to yourself.
Yeah. And it was so steep up there with all that, all that brush. You just throw somebody down there and forget it. You're never going to find them.
Oh, for sure. And then you look at, where they took them to. If they're screaming or even if somebody got out and started running, there's nowhere. Literally.
There's nowhere, really. There's nowhere to go out there. It's just desolate. It's just mountains. And there's not even houses. There's no houses out there either.
Nothing. And I even said to Bittaker one time, why did the girls try to make a run for it? And he's like, where are they going to go? It's me, the mountain lion. And I was like, I would have chose the mountain lion. Yeah. But it's true. And then I said that before I even went up there. And then when I went up there, I was like, really, there's nothing. It would have just been, even if you ran, down the canyon, I mean, at night, that's what you're going to encounter.
Oh, and we were there in broad daylight. We were there like in the middle of the afternoon, and it was still treacherous, but I can't imagine what it would be like at night, with no lights.
Mhm. I
you wouldn't be able to see.
on the fire road where Cindy was placed it was late. It was the same time. It was actually, that's what it was. This is so weird too. Okay. So Cindy's date that she was taken was June 24th when the book is coming out, ironically. Wow. And I went up on the fire roads, the exact date the girls were taken, because I wanted to see, where the sun, like how it set, the lighting of how dark it was at that time, and I looked at the moon phases. So I had went up there June 24th just to see like the area, the exact night, and when the sun was setting with Cindy. And I was up there for a while because we were doing we had actually took a hammer and we tossed it just to see how far it would go, if we could go find it later. We had the drones out there middle of the night, and a mountain lion actually started trailing us back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. I believe it. We have them over here in our backyard.
So what time was it? Like almost 8:30 before it was completely dark?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the timeline is she started walking from the church around 7:15, and she walked up. She's in Redondo. They spot her. She's then turns up towards her grandparents' neighborhood. They pull over. They're like, "Do you want to smoke some grass? Do you want to get in?" She says no, and they pull up ahead of her. She's only 2 blocks away at this point too, and the sun is still out because I did the whole thing because I wanted to see the exact daylight. So I went to the exact abduction point of where Cindy was taken that night on June 24th. It was bright out still at that point. Like that was the day when I went there and saw how bright it was. And I was just like, oh my God, like it clicked to just how brazen Bittaker and Norris really were. I mean, it really was broad daylight.
I can't even tell the audience who doesn't know this area how crazy it is that they were that brazen, because this is a beach town. And when I was like a teenager, early 20s, we would go down there all the time. We had friends that lived down there. We all hung out at the beach. We walked around. That was what you did, right? And this was before when I was there. So when this happened with Bittaker Norris is probably 15 years before I was down there. And it was safe when I was down there. Like no one thought twice about wandering around. It's a nice neighborhood. It's just a normal neighborhood. Like it's not a place that you would think, oh, I'm going to drive around here and pick up people and kill them. Like I can't wrap my mind around that day.
It literally is it's the safest like suburban town. It's like a little beach town. There's white picket fences, and it's just like a quaint neighborhood. Like it really is like they pulled up and like Leave It to Beaver, area, and just pulled her off the street, it's mind blowing
and terrifying. I mean, these vans, you have to stay away from them. They're really scary. We just had a horrible thing happen over here in our neighborhood.
Well, we were sitting there, like there was this broken down van that it looked like someone was living in, because they had foil on the windows and stuff. And they just, we live in a gated community, and they literally parked it right next to, right inside the gate, and then put it up on a jack and took the tire off. And people were like going, I'm like, it looks like
you've been to our house. So when you come in the gates, it was really, the van was right there, and it was just broken down, and it had tin foil on the windows.
Yeah.
And it had all kinds of stuff filled
and they had
up
people
in the back.
coming in and out of it, and like they didn't look.
So
they definitely didn't live there.
After working with you for 5 years, I'm like, we need to get rid of that van because there's kids all over here. I mean, there's kids everywhere.
Well, and the one thing that really, the tinfoil especially just reminded me of it is, Rick Shootman, he's in the first part of the book too, because he was, locked up with Bittaker and Norris, and he was going over the plans with them. They mailed those pictures back to Rick Shootman. And, I got to speak to him before he died. And, he had a friend who had rented, and I've heard this from numerous serial killers, they rent land off of lumber yards. That's what they do, because it's kind of like, I guess, less of a paper trail or something. and, remote, of course. And with Rick's case, this was actually Northern California. There was a trailer and with girls inside of it that they use. And I've heard this multiple times. Like, they'll take trailers and vans. I mean, they're just easy places to move around. And, they'll use the rental of a lumber yard or, mountain terrain in the woods and stuff. Which is actually funny because it's the chapter that I picked to cover tonight too, which is, I mean, this is where they're going. And what I speak about in this chapter actually is, a lot of people are like, oh, serial killers are going extinct. And I'm like, no, I don't think people understand. So they've been around since the first documented case was like back in the Middle Ages. They've been around as long as we've been around. It's I actually talk about, there's some key features in them that are being looked into, that it goes all the way back to the primal hunter-gatherers days that we're doing research on. But if you look at, them going up into these mountains, that kind of plays into that factor of the hunter-gatherers as well. But they're not dying off, with forensics now, and you're watching like Dexter, Criminal Minds, CSI, they're getting smarter too. They know that there's cameras everywhere. So what they're going to do is they're going to migrate, and they're going to go to places where there's no cell reception. They're going to go someplace that's remote. They're just going to go inwards, which is like the mountains and the woods now.
Yeah. I mean, because all they have to do is they can snatch someone in the city, especially in California. Like, you can get anywhere like in an hour very quick.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, without traffic, you're in the mountains very quickly.
Very.
Like I'm like I was just telling you before we got on. There's like this high speed chase that's going on right now, right where Bittaker was dropping off bodies, and
right.
the guy actually went off the freeway, and now he's in these mountain goat roads, and you can see it, and like there's nothing up there.
Yeah.
So he just kind of positioned himself, but like it happens all the time. You can get to remote areas very quickly, even in a major area like Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, unless you've been to like Los Angeles, and you've done the drive. I've done the drive from Burbank. I've done the drive from, South Bay. It's just an hour, and you're just, it's a vast mountain range where there's nothing at all. In all directions, they're just mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. So you go east, that's all it is. And then you have the desert too.
Right. You have the desert. Yep.
It's really scary. We saw that van, and I was like, we got to get this van out of here.
So we got the van out.
We got the van out of here.
Got it towed out.
We got it towed out. But it was scary. I mean, you don't know what's going through people's minds. Why would you park a van like that in here when you don't live here?
It's when the windows with the tinfoil and that kind of
thing in there, right? That was the thing that scared me, because I was like, what the hell is going on in there? You got to have tinfoil on the windows.
Right. Right.
So in this chapter, The Sanctuary, what do you talk about, Laura?
Why don't you
just read some of it?
Read some of it.
All right. So, lost it. All right. So many assert that serial killers are a dwindling phenomenon, likening them to an endangered species. However, historical records indicate that serial homicide has existed for centuries, extending all the way back to medieval times, spanning diverse cultures and regions, illustrating that this disturbing element of human behavior has persisted across centuries, regions, and cultures. From the infamous, I'm not even going to try to pronounce it, it's the first guy from France, Gilles de Rennes, from the 15th century to Jack the Ripper in the 19th century. Serial killers have persisted despite social and technological advances. While some criminologists argue that modern technology such as cell phones, cameras, wait, where does this spot? While some criminologists argue that modern technologies such as cell phones, GPS tracking, and security cameras have contributed to the decline of serial murder, this perspective does not account for the adaptive nature of these offenders. Okay. Sorry, my page is like glitching. Let me try this. But basically what we're just talking about, the adaptive nature of them and how they're just going to migrate or adapt to the times.
Yeah, I mean, because killers are already adapting to technology. You know, they're finding and they're trolling on the internet now.
Right.
You know, like catfishing serial killers.
And you know, Bittaker said to me once too, he was like, could you imagine if Uber was around in my day? And I was like, God,
We
no.
were just talking about this yesterday, my friends and I. We were like, hold on a second. Why on earth is this okay to get into a car with someone that you don't know?
Right.
We were raised to not get in a car with anyone we don't know. And here we are. Imagine Uber. Imagine Bittaker driving Uber.
Well, no,
he literally said, imagine if Uber was around. I was like, I can't even imagine. I mean,
on the flip side of that too. I mean, it's like I drove Uber for a little bit, and like you don't know who's getting in the back of your car.
That's true too. Yeah,
you know, you see their face and like icon and stuff like you don't really, but you know they get in. Your back is facing to them the whole time,
right?
You know, and I had some sketchy Uber pickups where you know I went and picked somebody up in an alley. You know, because you don't it doesn't show you just shows you the address.
That's enough of
this.
And
then not only just three people. It was only supposed to be one person, and three people got in the car. And they were all wasted. They all looked like very shady. And then they were taking me to this area of town where I didn't want to go. And I almost stopped and told them to get out. But I just drove super fast and just got there and got them out. But like, you have no control with it. And I was like in the middle of Palmdale. So it was just like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So right around where this chase is happening right now, it's ending up. And like, they could have took me. There's two big guys and a girl, and they could have taken my car. You know, they could have just left me. They could have just left me on the side road. They could have stabbed me. They could have shot me, or they could have overtaken me.
That is interesting, though. With all the technology that we have, what do you think Bittaker and Norris would have done? What do you think would have been their MO? Yeah.
Say what?
I really do think they'd be utilizing Uber. I think they were savvy enough, and even Bittaker in prison, I mean, he was still getting magazines and staying up on like technology. Like he was telling me stuff about satellites and how they work, you know. He actually knew how to throw a satellite off, which is kind of weird. He was studying that. Now that I think about it, which is kind of weird, but I feel like he would have been smart enough to figure out like Uber. So there was no trace of them getting in the car or something like that, or pulling up with like the Uber sticker. That would have been like very easy for him. He probably would have utilized Airbnb. I feel like he would have taken advantage of everything that we do now, like everything, because people are like, oh, well, you know, hitchhiking is so dangerous, but what we're doing now, I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, we're going into strangers' homes. We have strangers in the car. It's almost kind of even worse when you think about it. And people think it's safe because of an app, but there are ways to get around that.
Oh yeah, I mean we've done Uber, we've done Airbnb so many times because we travel like that, and then it's usually we're with a group, but sometimes when it's just us two, it's you know we're in these, and a lot of times we're in remote locations. We can't find a hotel, and you're like, and you don't meet the homeowner at all. They just usually has a code, and so you let yourself in, and then. But first thing I do is I walk around. I'm looking. All right, are there cameras around?
Right.
You know, what's going on? Were they going to watch us and stuff? And then at one point, you just they could come. They know you're there. And so in a remote house like that, if someone wanted to get you, they can just come and they can do something.
It's happened. There's been murders in Mexico. There was a few people that got killed at different Airbnbs, and I know Airbnb wanted to keep it quiet, but
there's a whole team at Airbnb. It's called like I forget what it's called. There's a whole unit that actually deals with like homicides or rapes.
Oh yeah.
To keep it hush hush. Like it's
I had a friend who got out of the Navy, and he went and got his MBA at Stanford, and he went and worked at Airbnb, and that's what he did. He did security. And it was like cybersecurity and physical security, all that kind of stuff.
He's probably seen.
I would imagine Bittaker and Norris would have used all these things, like you're saying. And like you're saying, it is, when you're hitchhiking, you can sense something with people.
Right.
You're meeting them. This kind of stuff, you're not meeting them. You don't, it's all, you don't know anybody until you get in there.
Right.
Until you get in the car and you don't know who you're getting in the car with.
Well, Uber's basically has replaced hitchhiking. So it's like, that's the same, because nobody hitchhikes anymore. They just call the car service.
Right.
And
they just roll up to an airport with an Uber sign. Like, think about that. Like, when people get off a flight, they're tired, whatever, they see the Uber, just a thing or whatever. And it'd be so easy for someone just to hop in the car and them not even be, affiliated with Uber. I mean, there's so many ways around it if you really think about it. And I mean, that's why even Uber, like, that prompt comes up. They're like, check the license plate.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that happens to us a lot because, you have to check their picture. Sometimes they show up and they say, oh, the guy didn't show up today, so I'm doing it. I'm like, and I check the license plate number. That doesn't match up. And then you're just like, sorry.
Right.
I'll call another one.
While you were writing this book, Laura, you had to relive a lot of the stuff that you talked to Bittaker about. What was the most difficult part of that?
Well, for this book, Cindy and Andrea's abduction and murder, writing, I would say, God, those were the hardest. Like, it was like grueling. Like, I just kept procrastinating. I didn't want to even touch it. I was just like, and I would pace myself out, like, okay, I'll just do one paragraph and then pull back. Because it got so, I'm just so connected to the case. And, when you're reading the police discovery of this case, I mean, there were days it was so dark. I could only get through, and me, like, nothing really gets me. I've interviewed tons of serial killers. I've seen it all, heard it all. There were days I could only get through 2 pages of the discovery. It was that gruesome and that dark. So I really had to pace myself with those chapters. And they were hard to write, very hard. Yeah. Because, and especially, like, I'm like writing it too. And I'm just like, it's so sad, but it's like, I just wanted to change the ending. Like, I wanted the girls to just defeat Bittaker and Norris and, like, escape away. And it's like, that's not what happens, and it's so sad. And then it really starts to sink in what these guys did to these girls. And I don't even mean girls. I mean, because they were babies at the time. I mean, their pictures are in the book. And when you look at them, you're just like, babies. Babies.
So young.
Mm-hmm.
They're so young. You hear 15, you hear 16, you're like, you don't realize it till you see their face and you're like, oh my God.
Right.
They're so young.
So young.
And it's so, everything he did was just so horrific. I don't even.
Did you see the Rex Heuermann? He finally, he did his statement.
Oh no, I didn't see it
yesterday. Yeah, he just looks so like removed.
He does. The very little clips I've seen of him, he seems very just
like he's standing in the line at the DMV.
Right.
It's just such blank, no emotion, nothing.
Right.
And he just looks like an average schlubby guy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think, did he agree he's going to help, law enforcement, like, and do interviews and stuff? Was that the agreement? Yeah. Which I think
that was part of his, his plea,
Right.
But do you think you'd be able to get in to go see him?
Yeah. I think they should make that mandatory from now on. Like, these guys shouldn't just be sitting in prison. I mean, that should be part of the agreement when they're in prison too, is they should be helping forensic psychologists, when they go in and doing study. I think they should actually start doing that,
Yeah, well, I definitely know that was part of his agreement.
Yeah.
So, but they seem to squirm out of this stuff. That's like, with Gary Ridgway, it was in his agreement why he dodged the death penalty, as he said he was going to show where the remains were.
Right.
And he took them to like 2 or 3 of them. They never found, I don't know if they ever found anybody.
No, nobody did.
And so, but they still, let him have life instead of the death penalty.
Well, look at what Norris did. Norris wasn't even there for Andrea's murder. And that was part of his agreement. I'm like, you weren't there. And he was saying, I think it's over here. And then he gave him the wrong placement for Cindy. And that's actually what the book goes into is kind of that confusion of why Cindy and Andrea weren't found specifically.
Mhm.
And why is that?
Well, Norris was the one going up there. That was part of the agreement to show them where the girls are. And so they recovered, some of Jackie and Leah, but he gave the wrong placement for Cindy, which if you look at this, so Cindy is the only victim where Bittaker and Norris differ. Okay, all of their story of how the murders took place actually align back to back. They have the same story, except for Cindy. And this is where Bittaker said that Cindy came in, like Norris actually struck Cindy with a hammer twice. And it's too much to go into. I mean, there's so many details, but I've investigated this, especially Cindy, because of the different stories the most. And I do believe that Bittaker's version is correct, that there was a hammer because of Garber, his attorney, making mention of it back in 1980. Cadaver dog in training and barking. We started her 2 weeks ago.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, she's doing good. She's hitting on all the sense.
Nice.
It's a game for them.
Yeah, she loves it. She's going to San Gabriel soon. But yeah, Cindy was, Garber had mentioned it back in 1980. So Bittaker's story has actually been consistent from 1980 to the version he told me. And then Norris's version, I don't know why they believed him. He said his whole story was that it made him sick and he had to go throw up in the front of the van when he saw the look in her eye.
Sure.
Now, Norris, first of all, that gets sexual sadists excited. So, which is just crazy in and of itself. But also, Norris has done some very violent rapes where he strangled girls to the point of unconsciousness many times before. So there is no way that he went to the front of the van and started throwing up over that. I don't believe that. That is utter bullshit. I don't know why that was presented in court to make him look like a victim, like he threw up. I do believe that Norris struck her twice with a hammer. And that was a big thing Bittaker kept saying. He's like, you'll find the hammer. Just go look for the hammer up there. And I really do, because of Garber, even knowing this back in 1980, this is the true sequence of events. Now, here's the thing. If, Norris is pleading out for the death penalty. He doesn't want the death penalty. So part of the agreement, he tells Kay, I didn't do any of the murders except for Lynette Ledford. He had to cop to Lynette Ledford because he was on the audio tape that was found and he's torturing her. So of course, he's like, okay, I did her, but I didn't do the rest of them. Now, if they had found Cindy's skull with a fractured skull, it would have proven that Bittaker's story was correct. So what did Norris do? He gives the wrong placement. He gives a mile away from where she was actually supposed to. Of course, makes sense, right? And then we look at Andrea. So Norris dropped her off with Bittaker at the end of the fire road. That's the last place he saw them. He drives down the mountain back into town, grabs some beers. He's hanging out there. He's just waiting on the walkie-talkie for Bittaker to radio him back. So he just sees them walking up the mountain. That was it. So again, I don't know. He somehow brought them to the placement of where Andrea was supposedly killed at, but he has no idea where that is. He has no idea where they walked over to or anywhere. So how is Andrea even searched for in the first place? Yeah. Which is
the whole thing is that him stating that story that he threw up in front of the car is it's more manipulation, trying to make him look like he's more human and that he was just a sidekick.
Right. Right. No. And the thing is, Norris was a very, very violent rapist. I mean, very. I mean, he would have gone on to kill somebody with or without Bittaker. For sure. There's no question. They both are separately on their own bad, but together they were even worse. But yeah, Norris is that's what gets me annoyed, is like so many times, like Norris is painted as like this angel, or he was the submissive one. It's not at all that way.
Well, I think his defense team and then also the prosecution team, they wanted to go when you have such a big high profile case, you want to make sure someone's going to pay for it and you're going to get a conviction. So when they basically were leveraging Norris against, Bittaker, and when they, they used him just to get the big guy, but
Right.
he was equally as guilty. He should have had life in prisons or the death penalty as well. But,
What's even weirder is like, okay, so Norris and Bittaker were allowed to write to each other after the trial, which is so bizarre. Just that, the state would allow them to do that, but also that they would want to after that.
Right. Why do you think?
They just had this crazy, it really is like people call them soulmates. I don't even know what it was. It really was. It was like something weird with these two. It really was like, I don't even know. It really is. And like Norris died right after Bittaker died, like an old married couple. It was like a twin flame or something. They just have this sick connection. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Were they like homosexual with each other?
That story goes back and forth. There was a yes, there was a no. One would ask. So I really don't know because Bittaker was like no, but then he said yes, then he said no. So it was like kind of
yeah. I listen. They were having sex with the same woman before they, killed her. When they were raping her and killed her. So it's like.
But the weird is Bittaker also said to me, he was like, well, Roy doesn't want that out there. So it almost seemed like, I was like, are you so you're trying to protect Norris? And I mean, this is when I'm at San Quentin with him. This is 40 years later from when they did this. And it still seemed like Bittaker was like, well, don't put that out there because, I'm like,
it'll hurt his image. It'll hurt his image.
It's crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Why do you think they wouldn't just say, I mean, I know Bittaker drew you a map before he died, but why do you think Cindy and Andrea were the two that were particularly kept secret of their location?
Well, that was why. If Cindy was found and it showed a cracked skull, now Norris's story is done. I mean, completely. And Bittaker would have had a fighting chance. It was actually really more like Bittaker versus Norris with that crime case. So, I mean, if a cracked skull was found on Cindy, now Bittaker's attorney has a lot of fighting power. And then Andrea, Norris had no idea where she was, and Bittaker was not talking, obviously. So that's why it remained a secret in 40 years until he drew the maps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did Bittaker show you any of the letters and correspondence he had with Norris?
He gave them all to me, actually. I have them all. And actually, it was one of the first couple letters. Norris does say to him, it's so weird. He was like, you know what? I'm going to come clean about everything with Cindy. So it also shows me that, yes, Bittaker's version with the hammer is correct. So he said, I'm going to come forward about Cindy. And I'm going to, just bite the bullet. But Norris wanted to do this so he could be on death row with Bittaker. Yeah. I know.
But he did.
Mm-hmm. He didn't end up doing it. He actually, well, I will say he did write a big deposition that I do have. And it's pages long, and his attorney did file it. I can read it on the show, but it was him taking a lot of accountability, and he's trying to also give some trying to gain sympathy for Bittaker. And okay, so this is where all this misinformation about both Bittaker and Norris has come from, because so many people ask me about this. If you go online, a lot of them say they were sexually abused, or was physical abuse, they were in foster care. None of this is true. Neither one of them was ever in foster care. No. Neither one of them was physically abused. Neither one of them was sexually abused. This is stuff that Norris said to actually try to gain sympathy for Bittaker. And it somehow it's on a life of its own on the internet as fact. None of it's true, though.
Wow.
It's really wild. And actually, what's interesting is the first letter between them. The first thing that Bittaker says to Norris is, "Did you tell them about?" And I'm not going to say it on here, but it's the location that Carlo and I were talking about.
Yes.
Did you tell them? And the next response from Norris is, "No, I did not. They don't know about it."
That's in the letter?
In a letter. Yeah.
And then the law enforcement no one even followed up on that?
Nope. Nothing. Right? That would have happened, right after the trial. The first thing he says is, "Did you tell them about blank, blank?" Like, I don't understand how that doesn't raise like crazy alarm bells.
I don't understand why they were allowed to write to one another.
Crazy. I mean, it's tons of letters. It's a whole binder I have that he gave me. Back and forth.
Yeah.
And finally,
are some of those letters in the book?
No, they will be. So the book is kind of going in chronological order. So book 1 ends in July of 1979, and it's 2018 with my story. So it's kind of going in chronological order. So probably in like the third book, you're going to see like letters like that more when it gets into the trial and that kind of stuff. Book 2 that I'm working on now is more of, just the havoc they're wreaking on Los Angeles, out right now.
Yeah.
And there's so much like people don't know. I'm telling it a lot from, the teenagers at the motel, through Dina and Tina's like perspective of being 14 with these two monsters, and what they encountered, all those months with them. But also, there's a lot of information that people don't know about, like all the things they did at the Church of Scientology and all, which is just wild. And, just like how much they were hunting and all these stories that were never told. Like there was a college campus they actually went to, and all like these failed attempts that Bittaker told me about that are just mind-blowing stories.
Yeah. That's ironic because like the Church of Scientology is usually hunting people, and they were hunting people. They were doing the opposite to them.
They tapped the phone lines.
Yeah.
I said I was like, "What did you hear?" He's like, "Church stuff." And I was like, "I need details." And he's like, "I don't remember. I was hunting for the girl."
Wow.
Yeah. Well, that was something that Norris started doing as a teenager. He started tapping the phone lines, back then it was so easy. And he would tap the girls' phone lines in high school and then listen in on conversations to gain blackmail for sexual extortion from them. So this was a common practice Norris and Bittaker had been doing for years, too. Bittaker was even more tech savvy than Roy.
Wow. But also, I mean, back then you could just unscrew. We used to have the phone that was like this. You could just unscrew it.
No, you just go to the telephone pole. You can do it from there. You go from the side of the house where the phone
I didn't know
junction
you
box.
could do it like that. But I know that they were saying that they could unscrew it and put something in there and then screw it back on. And
I don't even think they did that. You have to be inside Scientology. They could probably do it from the street.
Well, they put some type of recording devices in Scientology too, because I guess when they went into the building and started talking to people, trying to find the girl, they started telling the people at Scientology, "Oh, we do electrical work. We can help put some security."
So maybe they did put it inside the phones.
Here we go again with like, we work for ADT.
Right. Exactly. But they're doing this for Church of Scientology. And they got recording devices all over the church. And
unbelievable.
Yeah, and this is like a story nobody knows about Bittaker and Norris. And I'm just like, oh my. So yeah, book 2 is going to get into kind of like these unknown stories of everything they did like while they were out and about, that a lot of stories people don't know. But book 2, I'm like reading book 2 as I'm writing. I'm just like, this is so insane and wild. Like, I'm just like, even looking at it, I'm just like, how did this really happen? I mean, just that story about Scientology is just crazy. How they have the phone lines, got recording devices inside of there is wild.
Yeah. Do you think, I mean, you're now more of like a 10,000 foot view. Before, when you started this, you were like on the ground and
Right.
probably you were just collecting data, and now you're going over all your data and it's freaking you out.
It is, because now I'm like actually putting it all together in a book form, and it's like playing almost like I see it in my mind as like a movie, and I'm just like, it's crazy. Now putting it all together and seeing it all come together, I'm just like, it's so wild. It really is. The whole everything, and not even just 1979, everything that happened from 2018, 2019. There's a lot of stuff that happened inside of San Quentin's death row that people don't know about. That's going to be in book 2. I think book 1, you're kind of like, you learn about who I am. You hear about the, my best friend's murder, that kind of stuff. You get my backstory. You get the backstory of like how, they came about and everything. Book 2 gets to really like dive into the real story. And well, I mean, you guys have seen it where I'm on the phone with like, 10 different serial killers and I'm juggling them. So book 2 is more, you get to see me more in action in the prison and, pretty much playing Hunger Games, Game of Thrones inside, and then also trying to get, more information from Bittaker while I'm also battling with these serial killers.
Yeah, you're creating alliances inside death row with other serial killers to get information from Bittaker to bring back to you, and they're giving it to you, and I mean, it's high stakes, super high stakes.
It was one of the serial killers, I don't want to give too much away, had gotten hold of the maps. One of the maps, Cindy and Andrea tried to extort me for the maps while I was in San Quentin.
One of Bittaker's maps?
Yeah. Another serial killer. Yeah.
So how did he approach you?
Give too much away, but I mean, they're very direct there. They don't, they just come right at you. Even when they're in the cage. I mean, you've seen it. I mean, remember when you saw Chester Turner?
Yeah.
It was like, yeah.
Chester Turner scares me.
Ooh, big.
Yeah. Massive.
Very scary man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He doesn't care.
None of them do. None of them. Yeah. But I mean,
that's why it's so ludicrous to even think that anyone would buy Norris pretending to care.
Oh, I know.
Come on. It's like they don't care.
No.
There's no empathy. There's no human empathy at all.
Norris was, if you go online and you look at like the paintings Norris did, it's just like, no. And
it is interesting though, how the persona of Norris has been shaped through the internet. We had similar things happen with other cases where people think they know and they have no idea.
No idea. And it really annoyed me in the Toolbox Killer, the documentary, because they cut me actually talking about, and they also cut me and Bittaker talking about it. The full story of us saying with the hammer and what really happened, it cuts. And then it goes to Stephen K saying, oh no, Norris ran to the front of the van and threw up. And I'm like, this stupid story is now on this doc that I'm on, and it's false. It's not what happened. Yeah. So this narration, this false narration has continued. And that's another big thing with the book. I think you're going to learn with all the books, actually. With the real, case.
Did you ever talk to Kay to find out why he believed that story?
He was just so gung-ho that, Norris confessed to him. It was just like, I don't know if it was ego or what. It was like, he didn't want to believe that he was lied to.
Right.
I know. That was the thing.
By a homicidal maniac.
Right. And then what's even crazier is Norris tried to push Kay. No, he did push Kay over the cliff of San Gabriel after that confession. That's another story that's coming up too.
Like when they went out to look?
Yes.
What?
Norris said to Stephen K, look over there. I think I see something. And Kay actually did. I don't know why Kay would do this, because Kay had prosecuted him for the crime at Redondo Beach where he strangled the girl that put him at CMC. with Bittaker. So this was actually the second case that Kay had worked with Norris on. So I don't know why Kay would have looked over the canyon when Norris was like, look. And then when he did, he pushed him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It sounds like you got a little bit too close to him.
Yeah. Don't ever trust a serial killer. If they say, look, especially like over a canyon, just no.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, you have to remember, they're very good at manipulation and being charismatic. You know, we've been around enough of them to see it in action. I remember even Gary Ridgway, you know, we would be talking to him and I'd be listening to him and going, these women are believing him. Like, they're listening to him, and I could see their faces where they're like believing him, like that, as if he had remorse. And he did not have any remorse.
His sister-in-law told us in an interview, the first thing she goes, well, I love Gary. I'm like, what?
Well, remember, I think the perfect example, Doug Clark. He had a following. He literally had a following.
He thought he was a rock star, that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Douglas Clark was operating up here in Santa Clarita, where I live, in this area.
About 4 miles.
And people acted like he was special, like a movie star, like, you know, someone like a rock star, like, oh, they just get under his spell. That's why I think he's a demon. How do you get under someone's spell like that? I mean, he was very articulate, very smart man. I mean, he was smart.
He was smart. He was very smart, and he was a good talker. He was like, he definitely had the charisma. He had the talk down. I mean, I would say he was much more advanced than most serial killers when it came to the charisma and charm. And I mean, for him to have a following outside of prison that were fighting for his innocence, and, you know, he's in prison laughing about everything. I mean, that tells you just how good these guys can be.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of, unfortunately, misaligned people's brains, because, like, you know, like the Luigi Mangione guy who killed that United Health. I mean, he's got fans.
These girls literally
like
go on there and they're like excited that he killed someone.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I'm sure
bizarre.
Rex Heuermann's got fans. They're going to be clamoring to him.
Well, the thing is, you know, Luigi, I can understand with the vigilante stuff. People always like root for a vigilante, right? But when it comes to serial killers, I mean, it's just such a different thing, you know, like for Clark to have, I mean, decapitating people on the Sunset Strip. And he has a following, you know, fighting for his freedom.
He's innocent, right? That he was innocent. He didn't have anything to do with it.
Right. Yeah.
Well, he tried to tell us that how many times?
How many of the serial killers that you talk to have quote unquote girlfriends on the outside?
How many? I feel like a lot of them, weirdly enough, they have a lot in Europe, or they'll bring them over from Europe, or especially Germany.
How about Australia?
Too many from Australia? Possibly. I know one has one from Ireland, a lot from Germany. Trying to think if anybody has one from Australia. It's always, there's one from Sweden. It always seems to be other countries. And I had wondered if it's more for the green card.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but even if they get married to a serial killer who's on death row, they can get citizenship?
Yes. And it's actually, if you think about it.
Oh my God.
I just thought of a new show for 90 Day Fiancé.
It's actually, if you really think about it, they don't have to sleep with the guy. All they have to do is go into prison, sign a certificate, and they get citizenship. I'm like, that's kind of perfect. If you want to come to this country.
Is that really true? Can they actually do that?
I don't know. We have to research this. This is crazy.
Because I stayed with the woman from Germany who was married to one.
I remember you telling me this story.
Yeah.
I remember this. Yes. I remember. It's all coming back now. Okay.
Then what did she tell you? Why did she do it just for the green card?
No, she was I think she did love him.
She loved him, from what I recall you telling me.
No, I think some of them do. I think there are some that do. There are some that like come and they'll just get the green card and like you don't see them after that. But then there are some that come in, like the one I stayed with, she definitely did love him. Like she would go every week and she would do it, like try to make it nice with the food or whatever.
Yeah.
That's all you can do. But she didn't really tell me much. But it was weird when I walked in because I was like, I was pregnant and I came in, it was just like all these prison pictures, like right in the living room. And it was just kind of like weird. Like, I was like, what have I gotten myself into this time? Because I had stayed the previous trip, I had stayed with a cult leader's mother from death row, which was actually quite an experience. Well, that was actually an amazing experience.
Why did you do that? Is this just to get access?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? It's the best way because, like, think about it.
Trust.
John even said to me, he's like, that's incredible. I was like, yeah, because how many people get the opportunity to go actually in the household with the parents or with the family members? I mean, that's where it really all stems from. So if and I absorbed every minute of it. She's like, do you want to watch the home videos? I'm like, every single one. She's like, you want to see the photo homes? I'm like, every single one. Like, I was just, and it was just like astonishing. And I saw the progression. I saw the full progression. Like, it was clear as day after like watching the home videos, watching, just seeing all of the photographs together, getting to know the parents, everything. It was just like clear as day. Like, I wish I could have gone back and stayed with Bittaker's parents or Norris's parents. Like, what I would have learned from that experience would have been, I can't even imagine.
What was clear as day to you? What was some of the...
Like the progression of like how the crimes occurred, and just how, with his case, it was the strict religion was the biggest factor for this escalation and kind of like this radical perspective. And I saw like how that spiraled, into these ideologies and, kind of delusions that led to the crimes. But it kind of made sense when I'm looking at it from the childhood of being indoctrinated into this very, very strict religion, and what's being told, and just the escalation of then into the teenage years and what they're taught in those years. And then, when it comes to sexual relationships and how they have to live and marriage and all of that. And just, I just saw it all. I just saw it completely off, just like step by step. It all just made perfect sense.
You had your little checklist. You're like, check, check, check.
It just made sense of like how he got to the ideologies that he believed in at the time of the crimes from where he started from. Like, I saw exactly how he got there and how it led up to that.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
I think that's a whole other, because like we unfortunately met Gary Ridgway's girlfriend, and
I thought she was going to kill us. I thought she was killing for him on the outside,
because she was.
I really did. I mean, it was a feeling like overwhelming that something was wrong.
We, just like you said, they were the gatekeeper to Gary. Like,
right.
We had to go through her to get Gary to participate.
Yeah.
And this woman was just like, lived in this crappy 1-bedroom apartment, and she was just kind of this destitute woman, probably in her late 50s, early 60s. And we had to go pick her up. She didn't even have a car. And Cindy, did she sit in the, I can't remember where we were sitting.
I sat in the back seat behind her with a butter knife in my purse.
And I sat next to her, and we had another guy with us, Rob Lobel, who was one of the
producers.
One of the producers. And we had, but it was a long, it was only like a 10-minute ride, but it felt like it was
I don't
know.
And we thought she had heads in her freezer. She was very scary. I mean, I was scared.
When I was pregnant and I went to stay with the death row inmate's wife, and I walk in, there's all these like pictures, like prison pictures. I was just like, what is going on? Like, it's freaky. But then,
like, what kind of prison pictures? What kind of prison pictures? Just
pictures, but it was like wall to wall cage pictures, like top to bottom. It was like, this is too much. I have a framed cage picture, like, on my desk, but it was like wall to wall of them. And it was like freaky. And then it was funny because we started talking, and then I found out she was actually more scared of me because I was, I had been talking to all these serial killers, and I was just known as like the serial killer girl who talked to all the serial killers. So she didn't know what I was, walking in there. So we had a good laugh about that. Her being a death row wife. And then, I showed her my study, and she thought it was like really incredible too. And I was like, do you want to add anything? Do you think I should do this or something? And she actually gave me a lot of info. She was a wealth of knowledge because she's in there, especially the wives or the mothers, in there every single week with them. So they get to see them like day in and day out, Even when I go there for a couple of months, I get a lot. But to be there every weekend, I mean, it's a wealth of knowledge. And I went like, I pulled up all the death row inmates. I was like, tell me about this one. Tell me about this one. I want intel on this one. So yeah, they can be a wealth of knowledge too.
Are you still in contact with any of them?
Oh yeah. Yeah. A couple of them. I would say how many? There's one mother. Two mothers, one. I would say the two mothers, I haven't spoken to one of them in a while. And they go week after week. And it's crazy because, they're just so ride or die, the mothers especially, for their sons.
Sure.
It's sad because I know they're guilty. They're guilty. And one of the moms is in complete denial. And the other one helped hide the body, which is even crazier. And actually, the one that helped hide the body is actually in my book, in book 1. I don't know if I put it. Did I put it in the book? I was pregnant, and I forgot, I was there. You have to get there at 5 a.m. to wait in line to go to St. Quentin Step Row, so you're outside in the cold. And I just had a short sleeve on or something. It was summer, but it's 5 a.m. San Francisco Bay.
Yeah, it's still cold.
So freezing, and I was just shivering, pregnant. And she came over and wrapped a coat, and she's like, "Oh, you're having a son," and just wrapped this coat around me. She walked away, and the other women, the wives and the mothers were like, she helped hide her son's body, who just wrapped this coat around me, and I was like, wait, what? And it's just only going on to San Quentin Step Row would something you'd ever hear something like that. This woman who had helped hide, her son's victim's body, wrap a coat over you.
But she didn't go to jail.
No.
Why?
I don't know the case too much. I do actually know this victim was never found, and I do have a approximate location. It's actually very close to you guys. Very close to you guys.
Up here too.
Mm-hmm.
We're up in the mountains.
Something built over her. That's one of the big issues.
Oh God.
So they hid it in a place where there was going to be construction, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy. Well, you definitely whetted my appetite for the book. I mean, I know so much about this case from talking to you for so long, but we keep on learning new things.
It's so good. I've already read it. I mean, it's really good. Laura did an amazing job.
Yeah.
I'm excited for everybody to read it, and then we would love to get your questions. I know some other people have asked some questions. Laura has been very, very busy, and then was out of commission for a little bit. And so we will get to everyone's questions. I think it's good if we put all of them together, and we'll just do them one Q&A one night.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure people have questions after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. A lot. It goes very deep. The Bittaker Norris case. I think that is why it's going to be a trilogy. There's no way we can all be fit into a single book.
No.
Well, it was also your first one too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, how many episodes have we done on Bittaker and Norris? I mean, it just keeps.
I just did this
out
grid.
of the 80,
it's
probably
40, 45.
30, yeah.
Probably half.
Yeah. which is crazy. And there's still like stuff we haven't even discussed on the case, which is even crazier too.
No, yeah. I
There's
think
so
I think
much.
once the book comes out and when I read it, and you probably have to reread it,
I'll reread it. Yeah.
and then we'll have to kind of dissect it a little bit more.
And if anybody wants to write in the questions, I'm sure.
Yes, definitely. Send us questions. You can send them put them on the YouTube, or you can send it to our website. And if you have a lot of good questions, and if they're really good questions, maybe we even have you on the show.
Yeah.
And you can kind of ask her in person.
That would be awesome, actually. Yeah.
Mhm.
You know.
Maybe do something live. That would be
Yeah, I
awesome.
think we can do a live show too.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, Laura. Well, it's always great to see you.
Same.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.